Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome back to the weekend. From the weekend being over. Before we start, as you know, my son is a big time nature guy and does a nature channel on YouTube and all crazy stuff. So I'm walking. I was coming in the other night, two nights ago, and I hear this awful sound outside. Like there sounds like something is being ripped to shreds. Like I thought I was like thinking, oh man, this is a deer that got hit on the road or dying or something like that. I take him outside. It turns out to be a bobcat. So check out this sound. If you want to be like, totally freaked out, this is me and him walking on the road. This thing is working on the road. There's a big woods right next to the road, and the bobcat's probably about 20 yards away from us. Probably we can't see it through the trees, but here's Dickie knows we're there. It doesn't like we're there.
Wow. Okay, I'll just say this. I'm 7 hours away from where Ack is, and that scared the shit out of me to the point that if I was out there, I'm not out there. I'm getting in a car. I'm getting in a house. Don't stay away.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen one on a nature trail walk once, and we went the other way.
Yeah, well, when they are this is their mating thing, and they're mating. There's two in the neighborhood. Obviously, there's the bobcat.
I'd hate to be a female bobcat.
Yeah, so that might be the female. I don't even know. They're trying to find each other. So there's only like they're very territorial. So there's only like one in like a big radius, one male and like a bunch of females, right? So this is the male, I think, trying to find the female. So we would hear the female yelling from far away back to it. But this thing, yeah, but this sound, oh my gosh, it totally freaked the hell out of you.
Yeah. No.
All right, here we go.
No, thank you.
All right. Ready?
Yep.
All right. Let me get the date better here. Okay. Oh, Hockey World, it is Monday, March 25th, 2024.
I'm Michael Lagello, and I have to say an unnamed cable company that I will not slander here with their name really blows.
I'm Russ Cohen. I know their name, but I'm not going to say it.
And I'm Eklund. You're watching the HockeyBuzzcast on HockeyBuzz.com. This is a podcast that comes every Monday through Friday to fill you in on the comings and goings in the hockey world. And sometimes Monday, Wednesday, and Friday lately. So, but we're here to fill you in on the comings and goings in the hockey world. And so this weekend, I had to throw this out there for a second because the Buzztron went nuts last night. I know it might be over for the Islanders. The Buzztron went 7-3 last night. But did you guys read my predictions for the games ahead of time?
I did not.
All right, I'm not trying to brag, but this is what this is based on the Buzztron. Okay, so now that you know what happened in these games,
right?
Here's what the predictions were. Okay, it says while the Buzztron is picking Colorado to beat Pittsburgh, it is calling it an extremely close overtime battle. Same goes for Carolina, slightly over Toronto, and Washington defeating Winnipeg. So there you go. That's
pretty good. That's a good day for the Buzztron, man.
I know. When it was 4-0 Pittsburgh, Colorado, I'm like, oh man, I'm dead done, you know. And then all of a sudden, man, Colorado comes swarming back, crazy. That was so.
Yeah, the Buzztron did not account for Jonathan Drouin, I guess.
No, it did. I mean, it called Colorado to win.
Well, I know, but I mean, at 4-0, you don't think Drouin's the guy that's
like, man, I'm like, there's no way. It's just crazy. But yeah, so it's at still screaming along at 60% now. And winning night percentage 75%. So 75% of the nights it's won versus lost. So anyway, but let's talk about what happened in the playoffs this weekend. I think we should maybe start with the Flyers for a second because that game against the Bruins. It's a big win. I mean, that was a really big win. We talked about the Flyers schedule really getting crazy here. Incredibly hard stretch here. Now they have managed to, get some points out of this stretch at all. We said would be amazing. But getting that win, that's one thing. And the Flyers never win in Boston. Like that's the other thing. It's crazy.
Well, it was here.
They never. I guess I should say they never win on Saturdays. On Saturdays against Boston, the Flyers are historically horrendous. I mean,
here's the way that game went, though. I mean, it was a tie game. They had the lead, and then Boston did with the Danton Hyman goal, tied it with like 4.5 to go. They did get the win. Montgomery said he didn't like the way they finished. I think the Flyers played a better game, but the Flyers couldn't even bring that same game over to the next game. And I think that's the biggest problem here is they played a good game. that was a good game in and of itself. And then the next game didn't even resemble it. And actually, all it really did was sort of play into this Torts against Couturier thing, because after 2 periods, Couturier had 6.5 minutes in that game. He only had 10 minutes in the game. He had no real special teams until the end, where he decided to throw him out there when it was a 6-on-4 power play with no goalie, because they figured that's how they'll score. They did score that way, but Florida played them perfectly. And and this is, to me, the worry about the Flyers, because you have now Couturier. You have now upset his game to the point where he is no longer effective like he used to be, and so now you have no choice. Like on faceoffs, they were trying to win a big faceoff in that game, and they couldn't. Florida just killed him. Lundell was just wiping the floor with them.
Yeah, he was.
Faceoffs. And so, like, yes, they've done better than we thought, but like that loser point the other day was a bad point. I always say you have to get as many wins as you can. The 1 point doesn't really help you down the stretch. The other thing, Eck, and I brought it up on the show before, Washington. Go look at their lineup. I mean, they probably have 6 guys that are all homegrown.
I know. The Washington Capitals are just unbelievably. I mean, they keep doing it now, and finally,
the young guys are really doing it for them. Also with the hot Ovechkin,
and they're actually pushing themselves into a playoff spot officially in the standings. Which is where I predicted the Buzztron predicted them to be all along. So I'm just throwing that out there. But they are absolutely. They're fun to watch. Ovechkin is tearing it up, and I also get the feeling that now there's a big debate I heard on XM this morning. I want to know your opinion on this. On Ovechkin, whether or not you think he'll break the Gretzky record next year or the year after.
It won't be next year. No, because I think even if he got into quote unquote the best shape of his life, we could see now he is not in the same shape, even though he's scoring goals. Like the other day now, they started to float. Well, he's 6'3", and I think they said something like 230.
Yeah.
And if you notice, his jersey looks bigger.
It does. It looks like he is. Yeah, it does. It does. And not like muscle tone really necessarily.
No.
Gretzky's at 894 and Ovechkin is at 848. So he's got 46 goals to go.
He's not doing it next year.
Well, he's higher than I think. He's got 26 now. So if he gets to 30, 33, 34 and gets to within say 40, he's breaking it next year.
Yeah, don't you think, Mike? I can agree with you. Don't you think that Ovechkin will smell it? Like when he gets close, when he gets close to it, Ovechkin will do the Ovechkin thing, and he will take off, and he'll have like 20 goals in the first 20 games of the season next year. So that kind of thing.
You're hoping this season he didn't have 20 goals until halfway into the season.
Oh, I know, but
I don't know what next year brings.
He'll be eating chicken and broccoli all summer.
You don't know that.
I know this. Gretzky's record is toast. I'm telling you right now.
You don't know that.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because you hate Gretzky.
And I'm popping champagne as soon as it happens.
Yeah, but you see,
I'm going to throw something in there from our chat room because this is a really interesting thing that Thomas put up there too. But we talked about the Islanders. Mike says it's over. I don't think it's over yet, but that loss to the Devils yesterday was very devastating to them.
Yeah.
23-1-7 when leading after 2 periods. So think about that. 7 after leaving 2. So that's 7. I mean, you've only lost 1 game in regulation, but you've lost 7 points.
Right.
Overtime when you were leading.
That's where the loser point becomes a loser point. That is the perfect illustration.
Those are serious. Like you put 7 points onto the Islanders right now, and they're in the playoffs, right? So
No, that's a thing. I didn't watch that game, but the fact that they had 3 guys run into each other like the Keystone Cops, is never a good thing.
Yeah. No, that's for sure.
Okay. First on the race, the playoff race right now. So, Washington, they're now in the second wild card.
Right.
They're 1 ahead of Detroit, and they have a game in hand. Not to say that they've got it. Nothing is home and cooled out right now. But I think we can write off. Because we have 10, 11, 12 games left. I think we can officially write off the Pittsburgh Penguins, who are 9 points out.
Yeah, they have definitely that loss to Colorado. That's it. I mean, that's like you're right, Mike. I mean, if they somehow manage to win that game, and they have had a good record against Colorado over the years, which is one of the reasons the Buzztron had them picked so possible. But if they manage to win that game, then commanding like when it's 4-0. I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe this is it. Maybe the Penguins maybe they're going to get their mojo back and run and do the typical Penguin thing. But no, losing that game.
Now, see, the only saving grace, and I believe the Sabres are done, but the only thing that is probably, and I think I looked at Money Puck yesterday, I think their odds of making the playoffs are like 3%.
Right.
But they've got 10 games left. They're 6 points behind Washington.
Yeah.
But the only saving grace for them is they play Washington here twice.
Right.
So that gives, if they win both those games, but the problem is, and they're not, I agree, Russ, but the problem is, even if they do win those 2 games, they got 3 teams in between them.
Yeah,
They've got the Devils, the Islanders, and the Red Wings. So it's not simply just beating the Capitals. You've got to beat the Capitals and hope all these other teams lose.
To me, I think the Caps are going to get that spot now. I really do. And I also think that the race will come down to whether the Caps catch the Flyers or not. I really think that's going to be the issue.
Well, it depends. See, I mean, I think it may come down to Detroit and the Flyers for the last wild card.
I think that could be it too.
I think the Capitals have enough guys that have won that they will surpass the Flyers close to the end of the season.
Yeah, I do too.
Besides playing in that last game, and I do think it's going to be up to the Flyers to beat the Red Wings.
But the Wilson suspension hurts them. It's 6 games.
What's the difference now between the Flyers and Caps?
2 points.
2 points. And Washington has 2 games in hand.
Washington 2 games in hand. So they've passed them percentage-wise already.
Right.
That's like I think that could benefit the Flyers though. And here's why. I think the Flyers are much better off. The team they want to play in the first round is Florida. To be honest, that is the team that they have played the toughest this year. When you consider
except yesterday.
Well, but they outshot them by a ton yesterday, Russ. I mean,
come on. All right. I'm going to go on my rant about shots on goal.
No one has the Florida Panthers to 15 shots this year, but that was crazy.
I'm going to tell you the worst disservice that statistics have given us in the last few years, and it's not shots on goal. It's high danger chances. High danger chances are great, but when you don't get a secondary shot and you only get that one shot, high danger chance, click, great. Outshooting the other team by 2-1 margin, great. Goals, 1.
No, 1 goal, but then again, you're playing. That is the and Stolar's playing against his old team, played motivated hockey. But
I know what that's like from yesterday.
Right. There you go. Right. So, but I think, and at the end of the day, the Flyers, don't have a backup goalie. They didn't get a backup goalie at the trade deadline. That killed them yesterday. No question about that.
Well, Sandstrom had 1 bad goal, but they weren't scoring.
They gave up 4 goals on 15 shots. 15 shots plus 15. They held them to 15 shots. That does matter. That's hard. That Panthers team is hard to hold.
Never a threat in that game. If people think Stolarz won that game for him, he had a couple of nice saves. There's no question. What lost that game for him is what's losing the game for him the whole season is their power play. Their power play is awful. In the last 2 games, it's 2 for 8. It's still at the bottom of the league.
Yeah, no question.
Their power play goal was a 6-on-4. So, you say however you want, but that's what lost the game for him, not the goaltender.
No question. You didn't lose the game for them, but I watched. These are 2 teams I probably watch more than any other team in the league, and I haven't seen the Panthers held to 15 shots ever. That team does not. That team they get 15 shots a period on average. It feels like they are a power flying team.
But
they beat them twice in Florida, holding them to 1 goal each time, and and hold them to 15 shots yesterday. That's why I think if the Flyers want to do anything, they should finish. They should finish out of the division.
This is a commentary on the Flyers because Florida played a really difficult game against the Rangers on Saturday.
Yeah,
and then they came in and got 15 shots and still won.
Yeah,
I mean, they were, and Florida was very fortunate to get that point against the Rangers because they were up late, and then Panarin tied the game, and then they won in the shootout, I believe. So, I mean, right now, I mean, everything is tight in the East, but I just think, the Flyers are in a position now, in the worst position they could be in, which is missing the playoffs by a point or two.
Yeah, right. And that is the worst scenario. There's no question about it, Mike. I mean, I agree with you 100%. That is the worst case scenario for them. But the other thing you can set, and they can't be underwritten, is the fact that these young players are playing meaningful games to the end of the season. And there's something to that. There's something to the young players in the NHL playing meaningful games and not just sitting in games that don't matter. Like there's a lot of young players on the Flyers playing in very meaningful games. That's
sure. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's by accident, but it's a good thing.
But it would mean more if you didn't have a third of your lineup with Mark Stahl and Eric Johnson and a bunch of Cam Atkinson if he's healthy, and what I'm saying. It's like, right, I know. I said it was healthy.
The other night, Mike, did you see the goal that Eric Johnson saved the other night against?
I'm not saying he can't.
I was shocked. I'm like,
I'm not saying he can't contribute. What I'm saying is you're talking about developing young players and young players playing consequential games, and the way that this team was constructed and maintained going into the stretch run, they're playing veterans because they want to make the playoffs, and the whole point was to rebuild. And your message and what has happened are two completely different things. It's not consistent.
I mean, here's what I'll say Florida did, though. And again, the Flyers fans could say we were missing players. Obviously, Florida was missing huge players. Florida, every time the Flyers took a shot, they got the puck, they got it behind the net, they got it up the wall, they got it out.
Yeah.
Everything in the middle, they clogged up.
Yeah.
And they were the faster team. So even with, Torts talking about, hey, we're going to play at pace or whatever, that's true to some degree. But the way the Flyers, and this is the misnomer here. And listen, over the years, I'm a big Ryan Poehling fan because I like what he can bring. But when you're starting to play Ryan Poehling in the top 6 and you're playing Garnet Hathaway in the top 6, you're expecting these guys to hang with other teams, guys like Sam Reinhart and Bennett and guys like that, they can't. And I feel bad. I was in the locker room and I saw Poehling was just like, we got to do better. We got to do better next game. It's like, yes, you're doing as good as you could possibly do, but he's over his head.
Right.
And
there's not enough there with this team.
Right. And same with Hathaway. Hathaway, you're putting him on these top 6 line and really just to cause trouble because he doesn't really score much.
Right.
And you're still shortening his minutes, so then it changes the line later in the game where these other teams are fixed there. That's why I don't think they're going to be good down the stretch because they're doing it like that. They're doing it despite Couturier, and I just don't think it's a winning formula.
Down the stretch is so easy, Russ. Their schedule down the stretch is so easy. I'm not saying that they.
Okay, I mean,
they're on fumes.
Games. You have to win these games.
Have given up.
They're on fumes. That's the problem. The problem is when you're.
I'm not disagreeing with you guys. I'm not.
When you're playing Couturier, and he's symptomatic of the larger issue. When you're playing Couturier earlier in the season, 22, 23 minutes a night, you knew he was going to run out of gas. You knew, with coming back from the injuries that he's come back from, that it was a limited window here. But not only him, guys like Konechny. I mean, how much can you expect that? This is why this team was not positioned to do what they're doing now, and they're probably going to fail at the very last point of the season.
I saw Sanheim. I saw Sanheim take some point blank shots.
Yeah,
limping off the ice.
Yeah,
he's going to play 11 more games.
I know,
25 minutes a game.
No, I know. Believe me, I'm not saying that this is a successful playoff team.
No, I know that. I'm just saying getting there, like Mike said, is going to be really hard. It doesn't matter who they're playing. There might be one team down the stretch that gives up in a game, but most of these teams aren't going to give up.
I mean, if Detroit follows up on what they just did and they continue to get, and they've got the best shot, obviously, of catching them. And I think the Capitals are passing them. I think that's a done deal. I
think so too.
I think it comes down to the Flyers in that final wild card spot. No matter how you place it. But who knows?
Okay, we know that the President's Trophy means nothing. Last year, it meant nothing that the Bruins ran away and hid because they lost in the first round. But this year, and I have to credit Jeff Merrick, and I didn't realize this until I just looked at the standings and realized that you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams.
Yeah.
At 98 or 97 points.
Isn't that crazy?
So Florida, Boston, Rangers, Carolina in the East, Colorado, Dallas, and Vancouver, all at 98 or 97 points.
I know.
That's crazy. Insane. That's unbelievable.
So if you wanted to, how the Buzztron plays that out the rest of the year, if you go through it, it is interesting. So I was looking at that today. So this is how it plays that out, and it's really because this is the kind of thing I like about this thing. So Carolina ends up with 116 points, and so will Colorado. But Colorado will have more wins. Colorado would win the Presidents according to this. Then you have Boston with 113. New York Rangers with 115. So there's 1 point behind them.
Right.
Boston with 115, Florida with 114, Dallas 113. So yeah, this is Vancouver with 112. So yeah, it's all going to be close. I mean, still bad that plays out, but I don't think it matters as much. But I do think that there is a home ice advantage thing that matters, and it does matter, I believe, between Florida and Boston to win that first.
I think it matters for Colorado because they've got the air issue. I think it does benefit them.
And you don't want to play Dallas or now Winnipeg. We should talk about Winnipeg because they are collapsing in front of our eyes.
They are. They're in trouble. All of a sudden, they're on fumes.
They really look bad. They've looked bad for a couple weeks before they started losing. I was saying it a couple times, and they're starting to really look bad. I mean, they still are, according to this. But they've lost a lot of games. They've lost 3 games in a row now that have been really.
Being without their head coach probably is not helping. I mean, he's out. No. It's some sort of, they say, minor health issue. So that can be just concern. It can be a distraction, whatever. But yeah, I mean, right now they're 4 points behind Dallas right now. Not like I said, that 2-3 matchup is the central. That's other in the World Cup, there's always the group of death. That's the matchup of death. Whoever wins is still losing because they're going to get the shit beat out of them.
I don't disagree with you. No, that is the matchup of death, 100%.
Now, but the one thing that's interesting here, going back to the East for a second, Philadelphia helped out the Panthers big time because they beat the Bruins and then they lost to them. So now you've got Florida and Boston tied at 97 points, and Florida has a game in hand. So they have a slight advantage, but I believe they play the Bruins and the Panthers play twice before the end of the season. So the head-to-head matchups are really going to be a big deal. Now, the interested party there is Toronto, because I look at it and honestly, I don't think the Leafs can beat Florida. I don't think that they will win. I think it's a bad matchup. They'll physically, offensively, defensively, goaltending, I think they lose in all, and the intangibles. I think they lose in all of those matchups. The Bruins, on the other hand, who are not a bad team at all, they're a pretty good team. I think the Leafs could beat if they get past the psychological hurdle.
Yeah, I think there's a possibility.
Yeah, but I mean, we know what Boston will do. Boston will do what Boston does very well. They'll get under their skin. They'll play the mind games. Marchand will drive them crazy. But an interested party here is, I mean, the Leafs don't play Boston the rest of the season. They play Florida twice. Yeah. So self-fulfilling prophecy, if they, I'm not saying they're going to throw games, obviously not, but if they're interested in having a better chance in the first round, I think playing Boston is the preferable matchup to Florida. But right now, it's not even guaranteed that Toronto will finish in third place because Tampa has been hot all of a sudden, and they're only 4 points behind the Leafs. So right now, you've got so the Leafs could fall into the first wild card, and then they could end up playing the Rangers or Carolina or Florida or Boston because everything's so close right now.
I feel like whoever finishes, I feel like the winner of the Metro is going to end up higher than the winner of the Atlantic. I don't know why. I just have that just a sense. I feel like it's going to be Carolina.
Rangers, they will. I don't know if it's anybody else. They will.
I think Carolina will get there. I mean,
It'll be close. It'll be close.
I mean, what Gensel has brought them is just remarkable.
Oh yeah.
And adding that to an already great team. And goaltending is obviously their issue, and especially if they go with
not last night it wasn't. If Freddie Anderson plays like that, but we know.
But they can't go with Anderson in the playoffs. I don't think. I really don't.
Wait, I have an answer though. I have the answer.
Yes.
The answer for the Leafs is Matt Murray's coming back.
There you go.
Well,
Matt Murray's going to be back in April, baby.
Hey, you know what? I'd welcome.
Oh my God, you're gonna.
He's a playoff goaltender.
Oh my
He's won 2 Stanley Cups.
So you're gonna go now?
Yeah.
No, of course not. Of course not. He's never playing again for the Leafs.
I don't know if he's not playing again.
He's never playing again for the Leafs, Russ. Come on, please.
He's
number 4 behind Martin Jones.
Oh, he's behind. If he comes back, he is not behind Martin Jones. Let's be realistic here. He would not be.
I'm saying right now he's number Russ.
Yeah, right now. Right now you're number 4.
No.
No, if they want to win, I'm not number 4. No, but no, going back to Carolina. I mean, that's the interesting question here because Freddie Anderson, I think now he's won all 6 games since he's returned.
Yeah.
He's got a 925 save percentage. I think he's like 10-1. It's some ridiculous record like that. And he was unbelievable. Now, the thing is, as we have known before, and last year I had everybody on Twitter saying, well, obviously you didn't watch the playoffs last year, Mike. Yeah, no, I did watch the playoffs. All I know is that Freddie Anderson still has not shaken off the reputation that in the playoffs, he's a choke artist. Now, he was in Toronto, but maybe that was the thing that the entire team were choke artists. He
has been in Carolina too, Mike. I mean, in my opinion, like it's not like it's changed. I mean, I'm with you.
Last year he did make it to they did make it to the conference finals, and he was part of that. But Kochetkov has had a very good year for them. Yeah. After starting out really slow and after them having a crisis of confidence with him, he has played very well.
Yes.
And now Anderson has come back. So that'll be an interesting. What I think is going to happen is they're going to use both of them like they've used both of them like the last couple years. They're probably not going to go with one goalie.
Right. No, I think you're probably.
Anderson will get the start in the playoffs. He will.
And then Brandon Moore will go. I mean, but I don't know. I don't think he should.
He'll go with Anderson for the first game. There's no question in my mind.
You might be right, that's where then Brandon Moore has to come into question. Like if they don't do well, it's like he has been untouchable as a coach. But if they don't do well and Anderson's their goalie, that's the question mark.
Right, so
he's 10-1 with a 2.05 goals against and a 925 save percentage. Yeah, so I'm glad I have him as my Stratomatic goalie for next year.
Yes, we all really
Stratomatic goalie for next year.
But this is the thing. Okay.
Yeah.
So if they fail again, and they fail again because of goaltending, and let's say they go down with Anderson, but they use both goalies, it's really Don Waddell who should be in trouble here. But because he's so damn affordable, that it doesn't seem like there's any worry about getting rid of him. But I don't think Brendan Moore will be in trouble either because I think the owner likes him, and Brendan Moore likes working there. And everybody knows Rob Brendan Moore will get hired 5 minutes after he gets fired.
Well, that's the interesting thing. Russ. His contract is up at the end of this year. There's been no talk about contract negotiations.
We've done that before, though. We've seen that.
I know. But if they lose early again, and he and Tom Dundon does as usual. Well, I have a certain standard of what I pay coaches. If he can go out and there's some big market out there, blue and white. That will offer him $5 million a year. Go, baby. Right there.
Well, another team that might need a coach that has Brendan Moore's had some experience with is here in Philadelphia. Like that, I could see that playing out eventually too.
He's not motivated by money. I don't think.
I know, Russ. I'm not saying he's motivated solely by money, but if you keep banging your head against the wall and the team keeps making the same bad decisions over and over, what we know is they've never gotten a goaltender. They don't believe in spending on goaltenders, just like they don't believe on spending on coaches.
Yeah, I think Ruby's the Flyers coach in waiting. I don't think it's Brendan Moore because I don't think Brendan Moore even really thinks of himself as a Flyer anymore. I think he's long crossed over that.
Oh, I think you're right about that. Yeah. But I think they would go to Brendan Moore before they went to Berube. I
don't think so. Berube's in the building every night.
But they've had him. That's been there, done that situation.
It doesn't matter. Like Keith Jones hasn't had him, so Keith Jones is going to be the one pushing really hard to get him. And this is pre-Stanley Cup, so now he's won a Stanley Cup. So clearly he's smarter. And I say that sarcastically, but he's won a Stanley Cup, so it's like
right. Yeah, I mean it's possible. I mean. It's every bit possible. So we have to end the show a little bit early today. So I'm going to go into the predictions for this weekend, guys, because I want to get into Saturday. There's a bunch of games, and there's some really interesting ones. So let's go through these games tonight. First of all, 2 games, and they play a big factor in the Western Conference wild card spot, the last Western Conference wild card spot, for my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'll make this bold prediction: if St. Louis loses tonight, they're done. Because Vegas has got a game in hand, and they're 4 points up. If they win the head-to-head matchup, that's 6 up with a game in hand. They're done. But they're not saying that it's not possible that they're going to win, because Vegas has not played great lately. I think
St. Louis will win this game, and they will stay in it because they've been playing better lately. And I think they're another team that's sort of like going to ride it till the end.
This is definitely one of those games that when I look at the Buzztron's prediction of Vegas winning in regulation, I would like to change it, but I won't. You know what I mean? Like I'm kind of with you guys. I think this is a St. Louis game to lose, honestly, because of the way they have been playing, and because it's home, and because this is a big battle. And Vegas is looking a little bit disoriented to me. They added a lot of players, and it's affected them, I think, in some way. Like Mantha's been terrible. Like he really has not been good at all. Trying to get him time,
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then the other game tonight is Vancouver and LA. Buzztron has Vancouver winning in regulation. So what that would do is that would put move Vegas into third, which is what it is right now. Vegas into third, and LA will get the final wild card spot versus the other way around, which a lot of people think is impossible.
I mean, honestly, is there a team that is rooting less to finish in third place in the Pacific than the LA Kings, because that would perpetuate LA Edmonton 3rd year in a row? I mean, it's just at a certain point, you just not that they can't win, because I predicted them to win that series twice, because I don't think Edmonton is good at all, and we saw that.
Edmonton.
Yeah, we saw. And
before we get back onto this game, and I do have a few more minutes. I'm okay.
I
want to go back to Cap of the Year award. It's again handed out to Vegas. Here's what they just did. So yesterday, they moved Hurdle from IR to LTIR, so they can get cap space so Yuri Patera can come up and be their backup goalie. So now Vegas has $21.25 million on LTIR. That's Stone, Hurdle, and Leonard. Remember him? Hurdle's expected to return, though, in the regular season. Like this, again, slow clap, because they wouldn't even have a team if it weren't for LTIR. And, they wouldn't even have a team.
But you know what, Russ? The thing is that it's being legitimately used because Stone is actually hurt. I mean,
I know. No, I'm not saying it's no, but Robert Leonard, like what happened?
Saying it's helped him.
That's what LTIR is there for, because Leonard, I mean, it sounds like he's never going to play again.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, and 22 million. Like, what's the cap? How much money do the teams like Arizona have spent on their entire team on the cap?
That's true.
Well, Arizona has to trade for Shea Weber's contract just to meet the cap.
I know, and you're looking at a team with 22 million on LTIR, not even playing on their team.
Well, I mean, and that is more a commentary on what a disgraceful organization the Arizona Coyotes are. And Russ, I mean, I know that somebody mentioned this morning that they're calling up Shane Doan's son, Josh.
Yeah, I mentioned it. Yeah.
To make his NHL debut, and I mean, he's been in the American Hockey League for a year.
This year, he had 14 games before. He's having a nice year.
Why not? Why not, Mike? Why not give the guy some?
I'll tell you why not. Only because his last name is Doan, and all of this stuff is going on. I wouldn't do it this year. I would let him play a full season in the AHL, because again, my whole thing is this. I watched him play 3-4 years ago. I just caught up with his stuff now.
Right.
Just watched some video. Look, around the net, he could score a little bit.
Right.
Play power play. You give him power play. He's Shane Doan's kid. He's got some hands.
Right.
His pace isn't great. They're claiming now, well, because he got stronger, it helped his stride. I think it helped it to a degree. I don't think it helped it to an NHL degree. So you're now bringing him up while he's showing 2 minutes of really good progress in the AHL. They should really wait until next season and let him earn it in camp. But his last name is Doan, and they're looking for the press, and they're looking for the publicity.
Right. If you want to give him a game at the end of the season as a reward, I get it. I mean, he's played 62 games with Tucson this year, and he's got 26 goals, which is pretty impressive. But
he gets all the time. He gets 3 minutes of top power play. He's getting a lot of plum things. Like, again, he's got some ability. I don't want to say he doesn't, but I'm just saying, don't expect him to be Shane Doan and the team. I just think with all the press that's already happening on Twitter, it's already too much. That's my feeling.
Right. Yeah. I personally like, it's a great story, from our perspective. From a prospect's perspective, Russ, you're probably 100% right.
There's
from
a
certain perspective, and knowing Shane Doan pretty well, and I'm like happy for him. And I think it's going to be.
I'm don't get me wrong. I'm happy for his dad. I'm happy for the kid.
He's put in 26 goals. He deserves a shot at something.
But it's a question of whether he's being rewarded for the progress that he has shown at the American Hockey League level, or he's being used by a disgraceful organization as a PR move to distract from the fact that they're a joke. And that honestly, I look at everything that the Arizona Coyotes does with a level of cynicism because they deserve it.
No, they do. I don't want to harp on them too long because we are running out of time. But so let's go into tomorrow night, because tomorrow's games are where it really gets interesting. So we got a ton of games tomorrow. Yep. Boston, a regulation win over Florida is the prediction on the Buzz on the Rangers, an overtime win over Philadelphia.
Is that game in Florida or Boston?
That game is in Florida.
I would be surprised if the Ranger game goes to overtime.
It would be too. But I would be very surprised on that.
But it is possible.
Carolina, a regulation win in Pittsburgh. The Caps, an overtime win at home against Detroit. So that's the big one. That's obviously the big game right there. Is the Caps Detroit game.
Two big games there. Wow.
Yeah, they're really big games. When you look at those games, they're huge games, right? And then Toronto, regulation win at home against the Devils. Vegas winning in regulation in Nashville. Now this is that to me is one that I would love to change because the Predators are on this crazy streak still.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet with Vegas on this one either.
But it's something that's got to end.
That'll give Nashville a whole bit of trauma because they'll just associate Vegas with missing the U2 concert. And
right. But Nashville has historically been horrendous against Vegas, and the problem that's what the Buzz, I'm sure, is seeing in this situation. But I don't know whether or not that's going to play into this or not. Winnipeg.
The Buzztron season knows all, right?
Yeah, it is. Winnipeg at home will get a regulation, an overtime win over Edmonton. That's another big game. It's a big game for Winnipeg. Edmonton is in trouble right now in some ways, and there's a lot of talk that Mr. Campbell's going to be their goalie soon.
Then they're in big trouble.
I know you think they're big trouble. Campbell's had a really good season down in the minors, and I would like to see them try that. I think they should give that a shot.
They probably will give it a shot before the end of the season. But I'll just say this: Stuart Skinner was 8-0-2 going into the game against Toronto. So the goaltending is not the problem. The problem is they can't play defense. They still can't play defense.
That's probably going to show back up in the playoffs. I agree.
No, that's not. I don't disagree with you at all there. Then we have we have only 2 games on Sunday night. So I'm going to finish out the Saturday night thing for a second. I just lost my space here. But the okay, your notes. Sorry about this.
Yeah, Jack Campbell right now is 16-12 with Bakersfield, 2.58 goals against, 920 save percentage.
Right.
Those are decent stats, but when you consider that he's 32 years old, that I don't consider a major accomplishment. Now, based on the fact that he was struggling early on when he got sent down, those statistics are impressive. If they want to bring him up at the end of the year and give him a couple games and see where he's at and have him as a third goalie there and just break glass just in case, fine. But if you're Edmonton and you're going to the well, going to Jack Campbell, that's a worse move than going with Matt Murray if you're the Leafs, Russ.
Oh,
yeah,
I think so.
I don't know.
That's not worth for Matt Murray. Campbell was good has been good in the playoffs historically. He was good in the playoffs last year.
Matt Murray hasn't been playing, so I can't fully go along with that. What do you mean exactly? It's not what you said.
No.
What do you mean?
Matt Murray. Yeah, no, that's not the same.
I'm saying Matt Murray. I'm saying Matt Murray coming off double hip surgery is more dependable than Jack Campbell and his broken.
Right, that's exactly what you're saying, which is ridiculous.
No, it's not. It's based on fact.
No, it's not
based on anything.
It's not based on fact. It's based on hatred. It's not based on fact.
It's based on empirical evidence.
No,
There's
it's not.
empirical evidence. There's
not. Okay, so Winnipeg. So Calgary, an overtime win against Chicago in Chicago.
Oh boy.
Colorado, a regulation win against Montreal, and then Arizona, overtime win against Columbus, and what will be one of the games of the year there.
Okay, I haven't heard.
Yeah, just a Celebrini game. That's what
somebody posted this in the chat, and just to shoot this down because Carter Hart rumored to be signing with a Russian team. He's still under contract. Now, maybe this is for next year because they did sign, what was his name? The Vancouver first round pick, the guy who was accused of something. Yeah. So, and they signed Brendan Leipzig and they signed other guys too. So is it impossible that Carter
the
Hart?
other thing is that, I don't know. Does he have a passport that he could travel with? I don't know.
I mean, I'm assuming I don't know whether they're under, they were charged.
Thanks, North.
I mean, it's such an awful situation, and it's just I don't know. It's just trouble. I don't see Carter Hart doing that. I personally.
Yeah, the five players were charged, so you would assume that they have some sort of, they were released on bail or something of that nature, and then they can't travel. So if they can't travel,
means they can't leave Canada, right?
Right, exactly. So I would think that rumor is erroneous.
Yeah. I mean, how quickly is this?
Time it is too, because I think there's a lot of hurdles to overcome to be able to have that happen.
I'm still surprised that there's not finding a way to make this go a little bit faster. I mean, it feels like this is like
it's just I don't even think they had a jury selection yet. Like I don't think it's going to start.
They don't think the trial is going to start until 2025.
That's insane. I don't get why that. I don't get why. I'm really surprised with all the heavy lawyers that these guys can afford to pay. That's the case. It just feels like that somebody here could be pushing this thing to happen quicker than that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Anaheim regulation win over Seattle, and then Dallas an overtime win over San Jose. So that's a little bit surprising, but still Dallas will win that game. And then Sunday, the final games on Sunday. There's only actually two games on Sunday. Sunday we have Buffalo. So Ottawa, a regulation win in Buffalo, and then
wait, we're going all the way to the weekend.
No. What am I doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's Sunday.
Sorry, I'm losing my mind. I apologize.
Okay, Russ and I discussed this, and we said that if the Buzztron has a bad day,
I'm talking about Wednesday night. I'm sorry about.
No, that's what I was. Okay, it's like we'll talk about Wednesday night on Wednesday. It's like Monday and Tuesday we should.
I'm sorry. Yeah, we're going to be back on Wednesday. I apologize.
We're going to downgrade the Buzztron to the Buzztron 486.
486. Okay, all right, that's fair. But right now, man, there's no downgrading the Buzztron. The Buzztron is killing.
No, right now it's working with a Pentium. It is.
It's riding the wave right now.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see what happens tonight. Some big games tonight. Tonight, not two games tonight, but then tomorrow night. I'm losing my mind here. I apologize.
Bobcat's sitting outside the window.
It is freaking me out, and I'm going to stop from there. Here we go. The Buzztron is not taken down for repairs. It's perfectly fine. Remember, without the buzz, it is just hockey. Enjoy your Monday. It's only Monday. God.